Hey guys, how's it going? Josto here, back at it again right here with another video. This time I got some settings that I have found for best gaming settings on this TV, the Samsung KS8500. You can also apply this to the 8000 series and the 9000 series. There's not much of a difference. Now, I wanted to share something with you. The settings that I have here is the ones that are recommended for this kind of TV, which is the Rec 2020. I don't know if you guys have probably have heard of that term, Rec 2020. And like me, I was wondering what the hell is Rec 2020 means? What the hell is Rec 709 means? So I can explain to you really quick. Basically, Rec 709 is for TVs that doesn't have the white color gamut, and the Rec 2020 is the ones that TVs that have the white color gamut. And pretty much what it does is it defines various aspects on the Ultra HD TVs, such as display resolution, frame rate, chroma subsampling, beat depth, and color space. So in order to make just to know the difference for you guys, Rec 2020 is pretty much white color gamut, and Rec 709 is, TVs that doesn't have the white color gamut. All right, so based on that, these TV settings that I'm going to show you for gaming are the ones, the TVs that have that white color gamut. And also, this applies for HDR, because basically that's the difference. The white color gamut is for the HDR. All right, so I'm gonna show you a game that doesn't have HDR, and then I'll show you a game that does have HDR, and the settings will apply to both of them. The only difference is just the brightness, but I'll get to that in a minute, just a minute. Okay, so first I'm gonna show you the settings, and I noticed, when I was working with the settings, I noticed a difference here. Hold on, let me turn on the light. Turn off this light. Yeah, I don't want any reflection here. Okay, so first we're gonna use game mode, obviously. Game mode for games, that's the best one. Also make sure that the picture size is fit to screen. Okay, we should all know that. Now on the expert settings, this is something that is going to change the backlight. The backlight, if you're playing a game that is not HDR, you can use this setting as a 12. This is depending on how well your room is lit. Whenever you're playing, you can adjust this to a higher value, or to less value. So right now I'm in a room that is pretty dark, and I don't want any eye stray, so just try to keep it on the low side. On the brightness, 45, contrast 95. You can adjust this between 90 and 100. I left it to 95. Now sharpness, I brought it down to 0. I finally understand what sharpness does. It's pretty much, well, it says right there, improve the overall picture sharpness by adjusting the levels. Okay, so this only applies to games that are in lower resolution, like in 720, or games that the image looks kind of soft and you want to have a more sharp image. So then you can apply this. Not all the games as of right now need this, because they're pretty sharp already. So you don't need to add any more filters of sharpness in that. Now on the color, if you want to get the most accurate color balance, just leave it to 50. Sometimes I do intensify the color up to 70. You see, especially right here in the fire section right here, this is where you're going to notice most of the difference. You see how intensified it gets? It gets more of more color. It just looks oversaturated. So I'm going to lower down to 50 to keep it on a normal, regular level, right? Also, smart LED, this one you can turn it on and off, but this is only good for HDR gaming. Now, this doesn't really affect this picture at all. I'll show you the difference. You see, there's like nothing going on. So I'm going to leave it to high because I want to be able just to switch games and like HDR games, and not to go through all this again just to turn high smart LED or turn it on. So I just leave it to high. Now Hti Ultra HD Color, make sure these are on whenever you're playing, you know, either your PlayStation 4 Pro, your PlayStation 4, or your Xbox One S. I have it on all those three consoles because those are the ones that I use. Now, dynamic contrast. This is something very, very curious. Now, they always recommend you to have it off. Why? Because dynamic contrast, it adds brightness to the image, not to just one particular image or section, it adds to the whole picture. So what it does is dynamic contrast, it'll crush the colors. For example, if you add white to a red, it'll turn pink. If you add white to black, it'll turn gray, you know. So this is basically what it does. It adds light to the colors, and that's why a lot of people will tell you that it'll change the color, so just turn it off. But what I notice is not only that. Look, you see in the low section, it does look brighter, right? And then brighter. But when I change it to high, it doesn't only look brighter, but it adds color to it. Look at this section right over here. So this is off and it gets dimmer. Now when I move it to high, you see how it gets dim and then it gets bright and then it gets dim again, but the colors stay really sharp. So this is what I get really confused, because when I have it off, everything looks dim and dull. And you know, it could be that this is how it's supposed to be, but I guess it just depends on you how you want this to be. I feel like high looks really, really cool. Yeah, it's probably unrealistic, but hey, we're playing a video game. We're not watching a movie or anything, right? We're playing a video game, and I want my you know, I want my fire to be like freaking bright. You see that guy right here over here with the fire? Okay, now look at this. How it changes. Oh well, no, it's just a picture. Okay, there it is. So I'm gonna show you how it looks with off. Okay, this is how it's going to look with off. You can play around with that one. Now on warm, you can use warm 1 or warm 2. Standard, it makes everything colder. This way, much colder, but I usually play with warm 1. Now let's go to color space. This is another one that everybody suggests to use auto color space, you know, but I don't know, man. It's just that look at the difference when I put native. You see how the fire, it's more intense. Now the lighting on the fire, it gets more reddish. I'm gonna switch it back. This is more realistic, but it also depends on you how you want this to be. If you want colors to be more solid, then use native. Look at this helicopter, this airplane right here. I want to change it back to, you see how it looks like the color, it just washed out now. So I don't know why with auto, it's probably mean that is that how it's supposed to be? I don't know. I like more intensified colors, but I'm showing you the settings that are supposed to be for this kind of, you know, this kind of television. So what I found out, it says that, you know, you're supposed to use auto. All right. Now this is how the image looks with those settings, and this is how they're supposed to look. Now let me switch to the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'll show you a game with HDR. Okay, here it is. All right. So now the game, this one has HDR, and I'll show you the settings that I have. They're pretty much the same settings. I'm also playing on game mode, and I'm gonna go to the expert settings. But you see the difference here is that the backlight is all the way to 20, Why? Because HDR tends to dull all the colors down. Everything turns a little bit down. So you want to have the backlight all the way to 20. Not the brightness, just the backlight. Brightness, you can leave it at 45, is totally fine. Same thing, sharpness is to 0. Smart LED, I left it to high as well. But this is where everything changes again. I feel like the dynamic contrast and the color space are the one that make a big difference. Now, I'm gonna show you how it looks with high. There it is. You see, I feel like high dynamic contrast intensifies everything, but at the same time doesn't really lose all the the blacks are still black, and the colors are just brighter colors. Everything looks dull here. I don't know, guys. You see, but I'm showing you how it's supposed to be. So this is supposed to be off. Now, same thing with the rest of them. Color space, the recommendation is auto, but changing to native doesn't really make any difference here. I noticed that native makes a difference in colors like red. Mostly in red, I've noticed it changes a lot. So these are the settings that you're supposed to be using for gaming. Now on your PlayStation 4, there's something else I wanted to show you guys. I actually put it right over here. I wrote it down because I wanted to explain to you. Let me get out of this menu, and now we're gonna go to the settings on the PlayStation itself. Now over here, sound and screen. What I read is that everything that is recommended to happen in auto, right over here. It even says right here, automatic recommended. Oh, PlayStation is trying to listen to me. Okay, so HDR, everything is in auto, right? Okay, now this is what I was getting confused, because there's two options here: 2160p YUV 420 and 2160p RGB. Now, I will show you and I will explain to you why the RGB is recommended. Now, like I mentioned before, Rec 2020, remember Rec 2020 is white color gamut. So Rec 2020 is able to produce colors that cannot be shown with the Rec 709. RGB is primarily used by Rec 2020. That's why RGB is recommended to be used for best quality programming production. Now, the YUV 420 can be used when your priority is the compatibility with the SD-TV and HDTVs. What does it mean? This means that if you don't have a TV that has white color gamut, so if you don't have white color gamut, you should use this option right here, YUV. That's basically what it is. So if you are using a TV that doesn't have the white color gamut, this is your option right over here. But if you do have the white color gamut, then RGB is the option that you should be using. This is just to, for example, sort of like upscale the TV to compensate the white color gamut. That's what it is. So now that this is out of the way, check out the settings right here. HDR is compatible, supported, 2K, 4K supported, HDCP 2.2. That's it. So now, like I said, these are the settings that are recommended, but I guess it just depends on how you like your games to be, to either colorful and bright, or just how they're supposed to be. Are you going to follow what the recommendations are? Like I said, it's all up to you. I really like the dynamic contrast to be high, but some people like it dull. So that's it, guys. You know, in the end, the only difference between this one, the regular TVs with the SDR games and HDR games, is just the brightness. You have to change the brightness. Now, I wanted to show you something before I leave. I wanted to show you some tips and suggestions on this TV that I have found. If you have this TV, you notice at the bottom of the screen, there's a sign that says Samsung. It lights up. You notice that mine is out right now. It's supposed to be here. Now I can show you how you can turn this on and off. Some people like it, some people don't. I do like it. I just wanted to show you, you know, how to turn it off. It's really pretty cool. Now you go to System Settings, then you go to Expert Settings, and then you go over here, Light Effect, and you can turn this power on, and there it is. You see that? Bet you didn't know that. Also, another suggestion that I can tell you right now is that I don't know if you notice, if you have this TV, or also on the other Samsung TV, the KS8300, I was having this problem that every time I turn on the TV, my Xbox will turn on, and it was kind of annoying. Also, if I turn off the TV, it'll turn off, especially if you have the, you know, the Xbox option selected on your TV. So if you don't want to deal with that, it's so annoying because sometimes I want to, you know, play my what's it called, my PlayStation 4 Pro, right? And then I turn on the TV, and then boom, the Xbox turns on too. I'm like, damn. So if you want to fix that, just go to this menu, AnyNet Plus HDMI-CEC, and make sure you turn it off. Turn it off, and that's it. You won't be able, your TV won't be able to control your Xbox or any device that is powered up. You know, I was actually looking to see how to fix that, and I finally figured it out. God damn. So that's it, guys. Hopefully these tips will help you out, and thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Joster out.